These are peas that should be sprouting soon. And this one I wanted to show you because these seeds are not good. These were old garden seeds that were not inoculated. You want to make sure they don't have anything on them because that'll poison your animals. I don't know if you can see in there, but they're kind of slimy. And they're leaving a residue on the bottom of the jar. You can see that kind of slimy looking stuff. These ones I have more hope in. They rehydrated really nicely. You see I'm just doing it in a bowl. I'll show you how I would do this over the sink, but see, I'm gonna just pour that off. And now they soaked overnight, so now I'm gonna let them be as they are. They're just a little bit moist, and then I'll get them wet again tonight, and they should start sprouting. If you fill up a jar with peas and it's too full, they'll swell and then they'll be stuck in the jar. So that's why it's better to start them here, and then once they are already hydrated, once they're already hydrated and puffed up, then you can put them in a jar. These are not expensive and they just go in canning jars. So there's water in, and then I just shake it a little bit like this, and then I take the water out like that, and then that one is set to go until tomorrow. So these are just garden seeds. These are just seeds that came out of my bulk garden seeds for my family. And any seeds that you have that are not inoculated and are not nightshades or something else poisonous can be used for sprouting. This is organic wheat, but it is not human organic wheat. This is raw out of the silo wheat. If it's really, really dirty, you might not want to use it for sprouting. This was incredibly clean and nice wheat, and it's fantastic for what I want to do with it. Now, what you can do with wheatgrass is you can cut the wheatgrass and then let the seeds keep growing, because it is like a grass. It will just keep growing and you can get multiple cuttings out of it. Or you can take the whole mat out of it and then it's just a seed mat, and that's the one I want to show you. So I'm going to do this, and what I want to do is I really want to save the roots for the rabbits because it's edible. It's got a lot of good stuff in it. And you have to be careful when introducing new food to any animal, a new type of food, because they need the gut bugs in their stomachs to be able to digest it properly. And if you give them too much of it and they don't have those gut bugs that are appropriate for that food, it can make their stomachs really upset, because that's how we digest our food too, is we need to have the right bacteria in our stomach in order to be able to digest certain foods. So now we can pull that out. And again, I have been rinsing this night and morning, and until recently I had the lid still on. So once it finally starts going, it really goes. Paigey, can you go get me a yogurt container of wheat that's raw? Yeah, so these roots will be good food and a good introduction for them. And for each rabbit, I'm only going to give them about that much, just so that they're not, and this black you see here is a little bit of potting soil residue that was in the bottom of this tray. I have been slowly introducing the rabbits to wheat itself, just wheat berries. And the reason for that was so that I could then introduce them to this. So they've had the hard stuff, they're used to eating that protein, and now they're going to be introduced to the roots and the greenery on top. Alright, so you can see how clean this is. This is just straight from the farmer's silo. He is a great grower, and this time I really only want it to be one layer, which is not what I did last time. But you don't know till you try. You just want it to be thick enough that it can create its own mat. as it grows, it'll create its own mat. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse this. Okay, for the first rinse, you could actually just do it in a jar because they need soaked pretty well. But that's what that's going to look like. And then over the top of that, I'm going to put another lid. They need to have high humidity when they're first starting to sprout, not low humidity. So this has a bottom tray and a top tray, and you can actually stack them on top of each other. And this is the Ultimate in Sprouting Sprout Master is what it's called. And so tonight I will take this out and I will rinse it and then put the top and the bottom back on until they start to sprout. And then when they start to sprout and start to grow, I'll just kind of watch for signs that they want the top taken off. I'll leave the bottom on so that the humidity around the root stays higher. I don't want it soaking wet. I want things to drain, but I do want high humidity in there. So I'm going to go put this over next to the other one. Alright, so I have my sweet potato starts, and I have these peas. I like to keep them above the sink because that way I remember to rinse them. If they ever look slimy, if after 3 days there's no sprouting, put them in the compost. Okay. Alright, we're in the 20s today, and I wanted to make sure to get some cuttings from my mulberry. Mulberry leaves and branches have very high protein, and they're very good for rabbits, pretty much everything else. Everything wants to eat them. Not necessarily in like a kill it way, but in a wow, this is yummy. So I'm gonna cut these. My geese saw that I put something on the ground, and now they think they want to go eat it. Alright, so I'm just gonna take all these cuttings from this one that would kind of be in my way as I walk. I can feed these to the rabbits right now, but I'm gonna go stick them in some water and get some mulberries started instead. So I'm gonna go feed the mamas really quick, and then I'll pick those up on my way back. All right, we got, hi chickens. You're what's getting everything so dirty. All right. So, hi mama. Are you hungry? And we're just gonna see what she thinks of it. I got 9 rabbits, 1 mama, and many babies in there. We'll see what they think of it. Which part they want to eat. See how she kind of walked away from it like, yeah, that was interesting for a minute, but not really. I don't want to sit there and chew on it too much, so I'm going to give her a little bit of turnip peeling and see if she likes that better. I think the wheatgrass is going to be a little sweet for her taste. Looks like I need to clean out of water and go get them more water. It's warm in here today. It's going to be way too warm for the rabbits here pretty quick, so I need to get them transitioned as soon as I can, but I really wanted to show this to you guys because you were curious about it. Again, if you want to support my rabbit adventures, go over to Patreon. I am doing an almost daily blog on Patreon about trying to get my rabbits out of cages and also to stop feeding them pellets, commercial pellets. I feel like I've already got there. I'm there with the commercial pellet replacement. That's good stuff. Okay. They've already got it mowed down pretty good on the grass. I see that they're kind of waiting on the berries themselves. That one found the mat though, and it was yummy. So my rabbits are New Zealand and Rex mix, and you can see in this little guide, he has more of a Rex look. His fiber is softer, less coarse than the other bunnies. Let's see what she thought of the turnip. Yeah, I like to see that. They're just kind of going from thing to thing. It's also too bright in here for them. A greenhouse is quite bright, so a greenhouse for rabbits is appropriate only during the very coldest days of the year. Once we get back into the 20s and 30s during the day, they just can't be in here. It's probably in the 60s in here right now. It's in the 20s outside the greenhouse, and it's just too much. Okay, so Patreon, what I'm working on now is creating them a run where they can't get parasites. They don't need to worry about predators, but they can move about freely, but have an option to get into their cage. I kind of want to get that out. I think that has served its purpose. Usually, I like to give them something that prevents them from having a cold draft on their bums at night. But this one, they've been pooping in it, which is just what I want them to do. Whatever they need to do to be comfy. But I think they're big enough now that being there is just leaving a mess. So little by little, I start cleaning things up, and then as soon as they're weaned, we take them out of the cage, we rebreed mama, and we start over again. These guys have about another week with mama. After them coming out of the nest, I've only seen them nurse twice. You see, they're not chasing mama. They're eating their hay. They're now eating their greens. They're drinking water. They're eating some pellets. But mama is in good shape. She is not super lean. She's not super skinny. She looks happy. She's not trying to escape from the babies. She's not bouncing around inside the cage, because a lot of times that's what you'll see with meat rabbits or any kind of rabbit when they have babies, is she'll try to escape from her babies because the babies are so hungry and all they can do is nurse because they're stuck in a cage. So you have to give them a more natural environment where there's something on the ground to eat, and let them feed themselves, and then they won't nag at mama and run her body down. But I do need to get them out of the greenhouse.